Verse 350. The yogin should have a distinct understanding of the undefiled truth of self-realization, and as to what the stages and the Buddha stage are, and be anointed on the great lotus seat. In these videos, I'm taking my cue from the texts themselves. I'm endeavouring to approach them with as fresh an understanding as possible, rather than allow them to simply trigger lots of preconceived and predigested notions already. And this can be quite surprising at times. And I suspect people who've got some familiarity with these texts, or who belong to particular traditions, might find themselves in disagreement with what I'm saying now and again. I think one of the most revolutionary aspects of what's being communicated here is what I describe as the Enlightenment Practitioner, referred to in this verse as the Yogin. I talk about the Enlightenment Practitioner as opposed to the spiritual aspirant or the spiritual seeker. Spiritual seeker is one who's looking for enlightenment. Enlightenment is the goal of the search. But the Enlightenment Practitioner is one who's already found enlightenment and is working to become more established in it. So enlightenment practice actually begins with enlightenment. And this is a complete reversal of what I think most people's understanding is. But I think this verse here gives some corroboration for it. It says here that the yogin should have a distinct understanding of the undefiled truth of self-realization. Well, this is enlightenment, self-realization, undefiled truth. But not only that, the yogin should have a clear understanding as to what the stages and the Buddha stage are. Now the stages here could be understood as the bhumis, this exalted path that the Bodhisattva treads. And this is what Professor Suzuki suggests in some brackets here. He says as to what the stages of Bodhisattvahood and the Buddha stage, the stage of being a Buddha, are. So not only should there be self-realization, but there should be realization of the stages of Bodhisattvahood and the Buddha stage. I missed out saying Bodhisattvahood because it isn't about relating to any particular formula. Once enlightenment has been touched, the work becomes clear. So I would understand these stages as just seeing the work that needs to be done in order to become more and more established in the Buddha stage. And being anointed on the great lotus seat. This is the seat of enlightenment. It's sometimes referred to as the Vajra seat, the diamond seat. The Vajra is also the thunderbolt which cuts through all the obstacles to enlightenment. It's unshakable, in other words. The diamond seat is unshakable. So, enlightenment practice begins with enlightenment. And this is what this verse is talking about, really. The yogin is one who's already having a distinct understanding of the undefiled truth of self-realisation. Now, if I were you, I'd be wondering, and what about you, Guru Gillis? Are you beginning with enlightenment, or is this just an idea of yours? Well, I hope it's not an idea of mine. There was a very definite moment where I was no longer a spiritual seeker, and I was an enlightenment practitioner. And it came about through reading a little book by Douglas Harding called On Having No Head. I didn't even read the book, it was just in the introduction, the first page or two of the introduction, and a penny seemed to drop. So first of all, how do I know this was an enlightenment event and not just some quirky experience, a mystical experience even, or maybe it was just an exceptionally good mood? So how do we know the enlightenment event isn't any of these? A one-off mystical experience, a quirky kind of experience, or just an ecstatically good mood? This is what my mind asked. There was, first of all, a very deep knowing. This is a self-realisation. There was a very clear understanding that there could be nothing beyond this. This was it. But there were a couple of other things. There was a sense of having put down a great burden that I didn't realise I was carrying. There was a sense of having arrived home. But there was a third factor, and that was that these scriptures, which I'd been scratching my head over for years, suddenly made complete sense. So in a way, these videos are a celebration of these texts and what I described in the past as a kind of city, the city of understanding these profound texts. I think I should say something more about this book by Douglas Harding. It's a book I've given away to many people in the hope that it might have a similar effect on them. But I must say, in general, it's not really hit the mark at all. Although it seems to have hit the mark for a lot of people from what I understand through various channels. But certainly nobody that I've given the book to or recommended it to has really got it, apart from my brother perhaps. And it's a book that I was aware of for many, many years before I actually opened myself up to it. It was one of these cultish books that was around since the 60s. So I'd probably known about the book for a good many years before I actually decided to sit down and read it. So yes, there was this definite enlightenment event. And for quite a long time afterwards I was very happy, blissful even. And this bliss, I think, was more of a reaction in my mind to the event rather than something to do with the event itself. And it became quite clear that I had to do a great deal in order to follow the implications of this event to the fullest extent. This is the work of the yogi, or the yogin, the Enlightenment Practitioner. So there is this sense of being anointed on the great lotus seat. What was apparent to me at the time was that there can be nothing beyond this, and it's apparent to me still whenever I'm practicing and looking beyond my moods, beyond my ideas, my understanding, my beliefs. That looking is the shaft of awareness, the Vajrabolt of awareness, clearing away the debris so that the lotus of enlightenment can blossom.